what the final provisions would be because it's amending the labor code and medyo mabigat yun. So there are, my version of it, basically, I submitted my amendments to the consolidated bill. There was actually a consolidated bill that we approved in the committee level, but I manifested that my approval of the consolidated bill is conditional on the amendments that I stated during the meeting. So they were noted in the record of the committee, and then I said that I would submit it afterwards to be included in the final consolidated bill. So the committee is working on the final consolidated bill, but it was approved on principle even before we break for the Christmas break, for the Congress break, for the Christmas break. So right now it's here, the status here is that it's waiting for the committee report for second reading on the floor. That's the status.
Maganda yan, ilipat sa Committee on Population and Family Relations. Mas mabilis na doon.
Yung bang bilyo kung magiging batas, matatapos na yung dreadedness ng work and doc?
Ang gagawin kasi na, yung essence ito is that if the work that the worker is doing is necessary to the main business of the employer, for instance, in a manufacturing company, yung mga nasa assembly line, in a retail industry na kunwari, department store, yung mga salespersons, the work that they do is necessary to the main business of the employer. They cannot be contractual. They cannot be placed under a fixed term. They cannot be outsourced. That's the essence of the bill. Now, there are exceptions to it, which yun yung mga nagiging pinapagtalunan namin. Well, a lot of the more obvious exceptions are if for example, if it's for on a project basis, if it's for a definite period specifically identifiable, and it is separate, the nature of the work is separate from the main business of the employer. So that's basically the clincher of it. It has to be determined whether or not the work that the person does is necessary to the main business of the employer. Other exceptions that are currently being discussed before we come up with a final report is for industries that are distressed due to the implementation of the regularization. Of course, the sudden, ngayon hindi pa sanay yung mga businesses, kung bigla mo yun implement, there might be a tendency for them to go bankrupt. Or no compulsory workers. And of course, it's also our concern to maintain and even to increase employment for our workers. So it's a concern that we have to balance.
Ano yung provision para doon sa
distressed worker, when there are when the industry as a whole is experiencing serious losses, then there would be a 5-year. It can apply for exception to the provision on contractualization through an executive order. It will be granted through an executive order. So it's by imprimatur of the president. So the accountability is directly traced to the president, and it's for a period of 5 years. Or as long as that circumstance exists, meaning the losses, the serious losses. But it has to be stringent. The industry as a whole needs to prove it. Right now, this is happening if it's on a per company basis. Di ba ngayon meron yung to justify retrenchment, kailangan i-prove ng kumpanya na it is suffering losses and will in fact go bankrupt if it's not allowed to retrench. The same rigorous standards will be applied, but it's a higher burden since it's the entire industry.
Hindi po ba Henerasyon specific yung batas?
Well, of course, we're not targeting a particular person or a particular company. We're after, actually, even in as I said, manufacturing companies. A lot of my constituents in DIWA are working in EPSA zones, so export processing zones, who employ also this practice of hiring workers on a contractual basis na 5 months and then they're dismissed. Or another important thing I failed to mention in the bill is on probationary, circumventing security of tenure by making use of the probationary status of the employers. So that's one thing that's novel in my bill as compared to the other versions, which I put in the consolidated version. If, for example, di ba, sa current labor code, probationary status is allowed for a period of 6 months where the employer is able to assess the capabilities of the employee to take on the rigors of regular work in that company. But the problem is, if employers use it as an excuse na, I'll hire 100 employees. Oh, and all of them did not meet the standards to become regular. So I have a right to dismiss all of them before the 6-month period. It becomes a circumvention of security of tenure. So we place rebuttable presumptions in the law such that if there is a continual practice of the employer of hiring workers and dismissing them, and the ratio of regular to probationary workers is disproportionate, or the practice is continuous, then it becomes a presumption that the employer is circumventing security of tenure.
Okay, si Congresswoman Bernadette, ma'am, kailan natitigilan ng paglindol sa NWSS? At ano pa yung lindol na ilalabas ninyo?
Maraming salamat sa tanong mo. Mukha na nga yata akong tubig. Hindi po ako titigil hanggang sa sagutin ng MWSS ang panawagan natin na tigilan ng koleksyon doon sa mga proyekto na hindi pa naman nagagawa. Katulad ng layban, ang reliability, at marami pang ibang proyekto. Hindi ako titigil hanggang sa hindi nila sabihin stop collecting sa 2 concessionaires yung dito sa mga proyektong to. Malinaw ng huling investigasyon, sinabi ng Regulatory Office na wala sa concession agreement na pinayagan nila na pwedeng maningil ng mga proyektong hindi pa nagagawa. Nakalagay sa concession agreement for investments incurred, ibig sabihin past tense na invest na. So, pinoint out ko, hindi pa naman nagagawa ang Layban Dam, hindi pa nagagawa yung replacement ng 15 CMS. Bakit sinisingil na to sa atin? So, ito ngayon ang sinasabi ko sa kanila, ang challenge ko sa kanila, stop collecting para sa Layban, stop collecting para sa hanggang reliability, stop collecting sa ibang mga proyekto na hindi pa. At yung isa pa, yung Earthquake Contingency Fund. Naku, nakakatakot dito. Nakita natin na nangyari sa Japan. Kung may earthquake contingency fund na pinayagan nila ang Manila Water kolektahin ito, dapat ito nasa trust fund. Para nang sa ganun, awa ng Diyos, huwag namang mangyari sa atin. Pagka-earthquake, meron tayong pondo na alam nating magagawa yung ating water supply, yung ating mga sewerage systems. Kasi kaya nga yan contingency fund, para in the event na magkaroon ng earthquake, may paghuhugutan tayo ng pondo. At ito yung challenge na binibigay ko sa Regulatory Office, sa MWSS. Please, kung merong contingency fund na pinayagan kayo, ilagay nyo sa escrow. Please, tigilan na yung pagkolekta ng mga proyekto na hindi pa nagagawa. At yung mga nakolekta pera, ilagay sa escrow tsaka sa sinking fund. Para nang sa ganun, hindi ito magalaw. Para pag sinabi, pwede na ang Layban, pwede na ang PCMS, yung perang binayad natin, nakatago lamang. Alam niyo, tinatansya namin pag pinapakompute ko kung magkano ang mababawas sa presyo ng tubig, pagkaalisin yung mga proyektong hindi pa nagagawa. Alam niyo, nasa piso, 150 to 2 pesos din ito. 1 peso, 150 to 2 pesos. Doon nag-range ang pwedeng mabawas, ha? So, napakalaking epekto nito para sa atin, lalo na sa ngayon na nahihirapan tayo sa mga basic commodities natin.
Ma'am, kung illegal yung pangungulekta na ito, parang may innocence or ignorance, bakit wala akong magdedemanda?
Alam niyo naman po, kung magdedemanda, napakatagal na panahon yun. Pero malapit-lapit na pag hindi ako sinagot siguro ng MWSS. At, kasi ang una dito, syempre, mas maganda. Let us empower MWSS and RO to do their jobs. Kasi baka naman gawin nila yung trabaho nila eh. Sana gawin nila ang trabaho.